Hello, Anna Allworthy. How are you?
Good, Denise. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to see you. And thank you so much for joining us on our Q&A. And I've loads of questions people have been writing in to ask you. So I'll just get to it. So we'll start with art college. You've always been an artist, haven't you? You went to art college straight after school. Actually, you went to art college quite early.
I did, yeah. So I think it was obvious from a young age that that's all I could really do. So school was interesting, bit of a struggle, but I did. I left school quite early and went straight to art college, so I did 2 years initially, which is where you sort of find your feet. You can practice with all different mediums. It was amazing, and then went on to Nottingham. Yeah.
Oh, and how long were you there for? Was that another 4 years?
So I think in total I probably did about 5 years of art college.
Gosh, you didn't want to leave.
No, I was very happy there. But I think in terms of my work now and what I learn, I'd say I'm more self-taught than I think at art college. It's so freeing. You get to experiment and all of these lovely things, but I don't feel I learned a lot about the business side or how to promote yourself or that kind of thing. So I think where I learned a lot was when I graduated. I was running an art gallery up in Nottingham for a while and got to know more of the business side and the commercial side, which was, it has been really helpful.
A lot of artists would agree on that as well. It's kind of, you learn that afterwards, the business side of it.
And I got very good at playing pool as well. That was.
But you went straight. Did you go straight from art college into galleries? I mean, you've had a lot of shows, haven't you?
I was really lucky. Yeah, I was really lucky because like I say, I graduated in Nottingham and then I applied for a job in a gallery, which I got, and then became more managerial. So but at that point I wasn't painting a lot. I was more into photography. So, and I think during that period in the gallery, I started to paint more, and then combining photography and different materials within the paintings. And I think in those early stages, my work was completely different. It was a lot more abstract and a lot more painting, whereas now it's a lot more mixed.
I know you've been with us for nearly 20 years, so I've seen your work from the start. I know it's
a long time. God, I suddenly feel really old. Yeah, God, it must be about 20 years.
But and you were visiting your brother, I think, in Ireland, and that's how we met. And then you took a long break when you had your daughter as well, and you're back. But the work it's so different from when we had it at the start. It's lovely to see it evolve over the years, but I think you seem happy with the work that you're producing now.
I do. I mean, it's such a journey. It takes such a long time to get to this point, and I think it's nice because you're probably one of the very few people, especially galleries, that have seen it from the very raw beginnings to where it is now. And I think, as I've gone through life and different things have happened, and they've shaped what I'm doing now. And obviously, I travel a lot, so that's probably my biggest inspiration is traveling and going to cities and taking photos. Yeah.
So when you travel, you take photographs. Do you work from photographs?
Yeah, I do. Because of how I work, obviously there's a lot of different mediums I use, so it is hard to transport that everywhere. But when I go away or I travel, I try and do as much sketching, but a lot of it is photography. Then I'll come back to the studio, and then how I work is I initially just sketch the piece out. And then the best way to describe it is a little bit like a puzzle almost. It's a case of sketching out and piecing it together with different materials, different papers, maps, ticket stubs, all sorts of stuff, as you can see. And then I start the painting process on top, which I use mostly acrylic, but I use ink, I use pen, I use charcoal, so hence mixed media. Yeah.
I mean, you would still know the paintings that you did 20 years ago. You'd still know it's an Anna Allworthy painting, but they seem to have more layers and more texture on them now. It seems like you just keep adding to it.
Yeah, and they've definitely become a lot more detailed. Again, they used to be a lot more abstract, even the cityscapes, but now I think definitely in the last couple of years, I'm spending a lot more time working on the details. And I'd say probably in the last 6 months, you'd probably see it. Well, actually, some of this newer work, probably a lot more industrial. I'm really enjoying sort of, rather than street scene, just focusing on one particular building and the graffiti and the layers and the history. And I'm really enjoying that at the moment. So it's always evolving.
That's what I like. And somebody asked earlier, do you ever paint figurative works?
I think the last time I did a figurative work was probably at art college when we were doing a life drawing class or something. No, it's not. It's something I would love to do, but my talents aren't there. I mean, my people
know your strengths. It's your strengths, and I suppose that's.
Well, I think I'm still very much on stick figures and not. Yeah, I think that I'll leave that to the other very talented figurative artists. But no, it's always been based upon travel, cities.
Yeah, you travel quite a lot, don't you? I mean, you try to. This lockdown must have been quite hard, was it?
Well, I know, but on the flip side, it's been really, we're lucky because we live by the sea and we have a garden, and we've been very fortunate. But it's been nice. It's been nice to just stop and not have deadlines, not have to be anywhere. Just it's we've been lucky, and that's been enjoyable. But I'm getting ready to go somewhere. But no, we've been fortunate and have travelled a lot, and we did a great trip a couple of months last year, and so I did a lot of sketching, which was nice, and but I'm ready to plan something.
What is your favourite country to paint?
Tricky. I guess I would probably always come back to London. It's not my favourite city maybe to visit, but in terms of work and painting, London probably, because
I know it so well.
I know it, and it's changing all the time, and I see it changes all the time, and I love nothing more than just wandering around the streets, taking photos and sketching. So I'd say probably London to paint. Yes. Yeah.
And Dublin, of course.
Oh, and Dublin, which I will be, hopefully, doing a show with you next year. So that, you'll probably be seeing a few more Dublin popping up.
Your studio looks so nice, and it looks so light. I mean, does it matter what time of the day you paint at? Are you?
No. I mean, it's really well lit. Even, I mean, I do seem to work well in the evenings, but no, I'm unfortunate because there's a lot of glass and it's very bright. Although in this weather, it's been a bit like a sauna. So it's that's the downside. But no, I've only been in this studio now, which is at home, for about 6 months, and I definitely think it's transformed my mind, my work. I feel very happy, and so that definitely helps. But it's lovely place.
Actually, since you've got the studio as well. I mean, we do a lot of shows, we do a lot of art fairs in the UK, so we know each other quite well, and you always meet your deadlines. So, I always think you kind of seem to like having a deadline and knowing.
I do, as you probably know. Thanks for saying that. And I do. You sounded surprised as well, but I'm getting better with deadlines. I mean, that wasn't the case probably when I was at school, but because I'm enjoying
it has changed over the years. You seem, since you've got that studio as well, that you're more stricter on yourself. You're more.
And I think since my daughter has started secondary school, suddenly the days are longer, so I'm a lot more disciplined with my time, trying to distract myself less, drinking and going out and just being in here and Yeah.
It's good.
I've forgotten what your question was. I started thinking about tea. Sorry.
No, what is another question for you? What's your favorite medium to use? That is a tricky one because you use so many.
I do.
Do you have a preference?
Actually, you know what? Posca pens. You know what Posca pens? These. I've
got
these, and they all come in different colours, different sizes, permanent markers. Yeah. I think without those, I'd be very lost.
Is that what you use around the edges as well? The black defined edges, yeah.
So all the pen work is with Poscas, and then I always do this. I think it's probably been a couple of years I've been doing this sort of black line around. Yeah, a few people have asked about that. But
I love it.
It's something that started probably a couple of years ago where
it's like a photograph, a memory. You know, it's like a Polaroid. You know what I mean?
I think it's I've always loved Polaroids ever since I was a kid. The format of a Polaroid, the black edges or the white edges, how it's framed, and I think that's where the idea started. And I did it on one piece, and I don't know. And now I think it seems to bring the image out a bit more. I don't know why I do it. I just do it.
It defines it more. And you put you put lots of layers of varnish on it. A lot of people always ask me, will it fade, the marker and the pen and the ink? But I know, and people who have your work for years and years, it's everlasting, and that you always put layers of varnish, don't you, to protect it?
I mean, there's so much PVA all over it from the pieces I use, but also I then paint over a lot of it. All the markers I use are UV proof, and then I put at least 3 layers of varnish, UV varnish, so that protects them and keeps them
and it does take a long time, doesn't it? I mean, you have a few in the studio and you work on layers and layers, but how do you know when it's finished? I mean, do you know straight away like most artists, or do you have to keep coming back to it?
Well, I think, first of all, it's quite unusual that I have this much work in, because as you know, and what, sorry?
No, I know it is.
As you know, it comes and goes. I don't have a backlog of work sitting around, so I work and then they go off to either exhibitions or you or the galleries. But yes, it's been nice having this time actually to build up some more work. But in terms of knowing when to stop is difficult. But what I do is, as you can see, I normally work on 2 or 3 at the same time. Then I'll go, because obviously the layering process I have to let dry and keep coming back to it. And then, it's just a case of coming and going, leaving it for a few days. I mean, I've got one here that I've been working on for about 2 months, but I've not touched it for about 3 weeks. And then I'll go back to it. So it's, I don't know. I think it's just something that I've got better at knowing when to stop.
Yeah. And the collaboration with yourself and Adam DeVille, we had Adam on actually at the start of the series. And it was so interesting listening to him as well. And it's amazing how we've a couple of artists in the gallery who have collaborated, and it's amazing how it really does work. How did that come about? I mean, it's fairly new. It's only in the last year and a half, maybe, is it?
Yeah, it's still quite fairly new thing. It must have been about a year. Yeah, about a year ago we started. It simply started when I had an exhibition over here, and I met Adam for the first time, and I loved his work, especially his architectural pieces, the graffiti, and really drawn to it. And it just started off as a bit of a joke, really, that maybe we should collaborate on a piece and see what happens. So it started as a joke. How it works is I always start the piece, then hand it over to Adam, and he works on it and then hands it back to me. So it's there's a lot of trust involved, but it's so far worked really well, and really excited by it. And it's It's been really fun to do.
Obviously, you with the lockdown, you haven't been able to collaborate on pieces, but have you kept some aside that are for the collaboration, or have you just mainly focused on your own work over the lockdown?
Well, we did, before the lockdown, we did quite a few, as you know, because they most of them came to you, didn't they, for the Battersea Art Fair. And they went down really well, didn't they? They were really pleased with those. So, pardon? Oh, you got one left.
Yeah.
So no, we are going to be working more. Obviously, lockdown's made it difficult, but it's been good over this period, just like I said, to build up some work of my own. But I will be starting a new collaboration this week, so there will be a lot more coming, and for you. So
you keep, the ones. So you really focus on just your work. So next week, then you have certain pieces in mind that will work for the collaboration.
Yeah.
Is that what you're?
I think as you'll see from the images we use, we'll agree on an image together. But they're usually sort of derelict buildings or old pubs that we work on, and then Adam brings it to life with all his characters and brings in comedy. So he does all the good bits. I say, I love what he does, and they work. It's good fun. Good fun.
Are you inspired by other artists in general?
Yeah, very much so. I think it can be a bit dangerous, not dangerous, but a bit overwhelming sometimes if, it's very easy, especially if you're having a down day on your work, or there's so many artists. Actually, you've got a couple of artists who I love. But there are. One of my favorite artists, he's completely unknown, is this guy, Robert Viola. He's a French artist. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, yeah.
But he does these lovely, he is probably one of my biggest inspirations at the moment. I love his work.
And have you seen it in the flesh? Do you visit
a
lot?
I haven't. I don't think he does a lot of shows, but I'm really inspired by his work. But I think my biggest inspiration is to travel, just wandering the streets, taking photos. Yeah.
Another question how did you develop your unique style of painting?
I think, as I mentioned before, it seems to have naturally evolved over the years. But in terms of, I'm just trying to think back. Oh, it's been such a long time. From day one, as you know, I've always used textures or materials within the paintings. And it's just naturally evolved, really. I think it's become a lot more photographic because I've always, since I was little, been so torn between photography, painting, whereas now it's lovely that I can sort of combine them all. I've got the elements of the travel, cities, photography, painting. Yeah, so I think, like you said, I seem happy with the work now. Definitely. I feel like I've found my feet a lot more with it. But it's still, it's still changing. I look at the work now, and then I look at the work compared to, say, even a year ago, and I think, it's changed a lot already. So
you're quite you're quite critical of your work, though. I know when we used to drop it in the gallery, and I'd say, "Oh my God, it's lovely," and you really?
I
feel like now you've finally. We sell quite a lot of your work, and you should be confident about it.
I know. I don't know.
Very gradual. But this year I definitely sense a little bit more positivity about it.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm trying. But just doing this is not something I would normally do. It's not something I feel comfortable with, and actually, I'm really private when I'm working. Like, very rarely does someone see me or the work in mid way of me going with it. But so it's not something I feel comfortable with, but it's good. This is great to do, and getting there.
So what's your next show? What's your next step? What are you preparing?
Well, after you, I've got a solo show in November over here in the UK, so that will be in November, and then after that, I think all the fairs start up again. Well, we don't know, do we? We're talking about Amsterdam's
You just keep working away.
Yeah, I'll just keep working away, building at work, and then I suppose as things change, hopefully, and settle down, and if theaters start opening up again, we will, see.
Oh, thank you so much, Anna. That's been really, really interesting. I really enjoyed chatting to you. And
well, thanks.
See you soon, actually.
Thanks for having me. Thanks very much. Yeah, I'll be in touch soon.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.